If you find yourself often angry, complaining, criticizing, or constantly finding fault in others, if you try to prove yourself as the best, or if you are always shy, anxious, and feel unsafe, then you may be experiencing inferiority complex. This feeling of inferiority can lead you astray from the path of finding the meaning of life. Welcome to the Inspire Reads channel, where we share knowledge for comprehensive self-development through great books. Today, we will explore a masterpiece of individual psychology by the famous Austrian psychologist Alfred Adler, titled, "What is the Meaning of Life to You?" Although this book is technical and challenging to read, once understood, it offers an opportunity to meet your true self. Importantly, it helps you realize the connection between inferiority complex and the meaning of life, allowing you to find true value in life. Hi, I'm Zoe. I'm reading some really good books right now. You can find them listed in the description. In today's video, we will delve into the most profound ideas from this book. One notable story is about Alfred Adler, who was a short, sickly child, always compared to his all-round talented brother. But through his inferiority complex, he rose to become a psychologist and one of the three most influential figures in psychology. Alfred Adler, from his painful childhood experiences, was determined to become a doctor to help children with similar conditions. He was then attracted to psychoanalysis and became a student of Sigmund Freud. However, through his research, Adler found that the core theories of psychoanalysis, such as childhood trauma and causality, were not entirely accurate. Therefore, he branched out and founded individual psychology. A similar case is Carl Jung, who initially supported Freud, but later openly criticized his theories. Ultimately, these three psychologists, Freud, Adler, and Jung, became the three great figures in modern psychology. Adler's individual psychology contrasts with psychoanalysis on a fundamental point. It believes that what matters is not what we have experienced, but how we interpret those experiences. For example, if you don't like someone, it's not because they have many flaws, but because you're trying to avoid a relationship with them. Adler suggests that seeing flaws in others is often a subjective way of avoiding personal hurt. Individual psychology encourages us to understand our motivations and emotions, rather than blame circumstances or others. I want to share a bit about individual psychology because it is a crucial foundation of the book and runs throughout its content. Understanding this perspective will help you grasp the core ideas of the book. Before starting to read, you should equip yourself with a mental framework, making the reading process more effective. The feeling of inferiority can cause you to misunderstand the meaning of life, but it can also be the beginning of becoming superior. Alfred Adler, the author of the book, affirmed that all of us carry deep-seated feelings of inferiority, whether it's about appearance, income, job, education, or background. For example, there was a boy with a short stature who always wore shoe inserts to appear taller, even secretly standing on his toes when taking photos with friends. This behavior shows that he was insecure about his height. But is that wrong? Is it something to be ashamed of? Of course not. Many of us tend to exaggerate the negative aspects of inferiority, holding onto our weaknesses in silence and always fearing that others will see them. But Adler pointed out that a person's life is a process of overcoming inferiority and striving for superiority. Inferiority is normal. You don't need to be ashamed of it. He even emphasized that all human civilizations have developed thanks to inferiority, and it is this feeling that drives our progress. Look at Adler's life and you'll see this clearly. A great poet once said, "Nature traps humans in darkness and forces them to forever long for the light." It is the desire to overcome a sense of inferiority that makes us strive to improve ourselves. However, without the right approach, you may struggle to overcome your inferiority. Imagine a person who grew up in poverty, looked down upon by others. As an adult, he strives desperately to earn a lot of money and become wealthy, even though the money itself doesn't hold any real meaning for his life. This could stem from the bitter comparisons he heard, like the neighbor's kid gets excellent grades. Why can't you? These words plant the seeds of high competitiveness, not only in academics, but also in his career later on. Another example is the story of Margaret, a patient of Alfred Adler. Margaret often engaged with married men and even poisoned several women to steal their husbands. Adler discovered that Margaret had been an abandoned child with a small, slightly deformed body. It was her inferiority about herself that drove her to seek superiority, feeling valuable only when she could take other women's husbands. This sense of inferiority pushed her into a life of crime. These examples show that feelings of helplessness are not due to fate, but rather that inferiority about oneself is the key factor. If channeled correctly, inferiority can become a motivation to excel. This is what Adler, the author of individual psychology theory, referred to as inferiority complex. However, if not managed properly, it can lead to mistakes and a loss of life's meaning. In individual psychology, this condition is known as complex inferiority, where excessive inferiority becomes a barrier, leading to negative and unhealthy behaviors. Inferiority isn't inherently bad. It is the complex inferiority that can truly harm you. Those who suffer from this complex often blame others or their circumstances, believing that their weaknesses are caused by family, environment, or an unfair life. They use this as a way to compensate for their inferiority. However, just because you are not as good as others does not mean you are lesser. When you internalize this feeling, it can lead to a sense of inferiority and become an obsession. Conversely, excessive self-confidence is also a sign of a complex inferiority. Some people always believe they are superior, constantly boasting and exaggerating their achievements. They do this to hide their inner feelings of weakness and insecurity. In this case, the inferiority complex shifts into a superiority complex, and these two complexes often coexist and overlap. What about those with a superiority complex? They often seek attention and validation from others, are sensitive to criticism, frequently criticize others, talk excessively about their achievements, scrutinize others' faults, are highly competitive, and have a strong desire to win. If you notice these signs of complex inferiority in yourself, be careful and take a closer look at your inner self. It is time to delve deep into your inner world to understand your inferiority and overcome difficulties. If necessary, do not hesitate to seek help from a professional. Feelings of inferiority often begin in childhood. According to Alfred Adler's research, there are two types of complex inferiority: primary inferiority and secondary inferiority. Primary inferiority develops from feelings of helplessness or being compared unfavorably to others during childhood, leading to issues of inferiority throughout life. Secondary inferiority occurs in adults when they fail to achieve goals they deem necessary for security and success. Childhood emotions accumulate and exacerbate complex inferiority. Adler identified 3 types of people prone to inferiority issues. The first, children with congenital disabilities or physical deformities. These children often become introverted, feel isolated, and struggle to cooperate with others. The second, children who are overly pampered because they are given preferential treatment from a young age. These children easily see themselves as the center, not needing to contribute or cooperate with others. The third, children who are abandoned or lack affection. Children in this situation often see the world as cold and unwelcoming. As they grow up, they may believe that only through struggle can they achieve what they want. Do you see the pattern? All three groups share a common trait: a lack of cooperation skills. According to Adler's compensation mechanism theory, people with inferiority will do anything to escape it. However, if their perception is skewed, they may seek false superiority, leading to a life of isolation or selfish behavior, competition, possession, even crime. Conversely, if compensated correctly, they can truly excel. So, what is the right way to overcome inferiority? Adler emphasized that all human issues revolve around the ability to cooperate. A person with a complex inferiority will struggle with cooperation, leading to numerous problems and a misunderstanding of life's meaning. The true meaning of life lies in our ability to integrate and contribute to society, not just in pursuing personal success. We often hear the saying, "A leopard cannot change its spots," but Alfred Adler didn't entirely agree. His individual psychology argues that people do not change, not because their nature is unchangeable, but because they do not want to change their personal interests. Change means facing uncertainty and difficulties. People often prefer stability and ease, lacking the courage to change. A person determined to pursue false superiority may be too self-centered, not knowing how to cooperate with others or develop community benefits. So, if you want to live a meaningful life rather than just living for personal gain, live for the community's benefit. Transition from a self-centered perspective to social benefits. Contributing to others will help you transcend yourself. Adler provided an essential definition. The sign of a truly meaningful life is whether that meaning is considered valuable by others and can be shared. No matter who you are or what profession you do, if you want to go further and live a happier life, you need to think about how to connect with society and help others. Otherwise, no matter how much money you earn, how big your house is, how luxurious your car is, or how high your status is, you will still feel empty, lonely, and insecure. Confucius once taught a benevolent person is not anxious, meaning a person who lives with kindness is free from worries. Someone who lives with kindness, always caring and cooperating with others, will find happiness and peace. Connect your values with those of society, care, and contribute to others. This will help you overcome inferiority and achieve true superiority. There is an important and sometimes controversial aspect of Adler's individual psychology. The concept of community benefits extends beyond just caring for others. It includes concern for humanity, the earth, all life, and even the entire universe. This broadens the scope of community benefits far beyond what we typically imagine, calling for contributions not just at an individual level, but also at a global and universal level. This reminds me of a saying, "There is something greater than ourselves." I believe that there is always something more significant than just us. Our lifelong goal and duty, from the perspective of an individual in society, are to transcend the ego and contribute to something greater. Only when we achieve this connection can we feel a sense of belonging and belonging. This is also the most basic desire of humans and the ultimate goal of life, returning to the source. This reminds me of a saying, "There is something greater than ourselves." I believe that there is always something more significant than just us. Our lifelong goal and duty, from the perspective of an individual in society, are to transcend the ego and contribute to something greater. Only when we achieve this connection can we feel a sense of belonging and belonging. This is also the most basic desire of humans and the ultimate goal of life, returning to the source. Some may find this theory vague, believing it is merely Adler's imagination. However, he backed up his ideas with sharp and clear reasoning. He firmly believed that life's meaning must be based on cooperation and contribution to others, because he discovered the 3 most significant constraints in life that every person faces. These 3 constraints are unchangeable. First is a career. Since we all live on a planet with finite resources, finding a career to survive is inevitable. Second is society. Humans are social creatures and cannot exist in isolation. All our activities are based on cooperation with others. Third is love and marriage. To perpetuate the species, humans need love and marriage. Wedding rings and couple rings symbolize the sacred union of 2 people, marking a commitment and long-term cooperation in building a sustainable family. Adler believed that understanding and overcoming these constraints, along with cooperation and contribution, would help us find the true meaning of life. However, some people claim they do not want to marry and choose to live a single life, questioning how they are constrained. The reality today shows that the number of young people not wanting to marry is increasing, especially in South Korea. According to a 2022 survey by South Korea's National Statistics Agency, 60% of young people cited not wanting to share finances and family responsibilities as reasons for not marrying. This is also a matter of cooperation, or perhaps an underlying personal insecurity. Unless biotechnology advances to the point where humans can be created without reproduction, if that day comes, these 3 constraints will no longer be personal challenges, but a concern for the entire human civilization. Therefore, based on this reality, Alfred Adler proposed that the ultimate path to human salvation is to build community awareness through cooperation with others and contribute to society. However, on this path of cooperation, there is always a significant obstacle: inferiority. To avoid troubles and suffering, we need to explore and understand the mistakes we have attributed to life due to inferiority. This inferiority has shaped our lifestyle. The lifestyle Adler referred to includes personality, individuality, and character. He believed that this lifestyle was formed from around 4 to 5 years old, meaning that the thinking and perceptions from those early years influence and shape us into adulthood. So, how can we recognize if our lifestyle has issues? How can we identify the inferiority within us? To understand this, we need to look back at our childhood memories. The book presents a valuable method returning to childhood memories where you can understand yourself clearly. Close your eyes and try to recall the images and memories from your early years. These memories can help you understand the roots of your current emotions and thoughts, allowing you to identify the inferiority that may be affecting your life. For example, one of my earliest memories is from when I was 5 years old and got lost. At that time, I attended a private kindergarten and, as usual, waited for my mother to pick me up. But she didn't come, and not knowing what to do, I sneaked away to find her and ended up crying in a crowd because I was lost. Even years later, when telling this story, even in jest, I still blamed my mother. After reading this book, I realized that this childhood memory had influenced me into adulthood, shaping my character. The reason I blamed my mother was that I felt abandoned. I deeply needed and expected her attention. This is a manifestation of a form of inferiority, a need to be noticed. This explains why, as I grew up, I often blamed my mother for various things. It wasn't until I read this book that I gained a deeper understanding and a solid psychological reasoning, helping me understand myself better and allowing me to change. The second image that comes to mind is when I was about 9 years old, caring for and playing with my younger sister. This is a beautiful memory that reinforces my belief in Alfred Adler's theory. He encouraged all parents, if they have a second, third, or fourth child, to involve the older siblings in the process of raising and caring for the younger ones. As a child, I used to resent my mother for making me care for my sister all summer, but now I am truly grateful because it taught me cooperation effectively. When you close your eyes, you will see that there are both happy and sad memories. These memories are mirrors reflecting your healthy psychology or psychological issues. You need to understand that individual psychology is about finding the deficiencies in our ability to cooperate with others, rooted in our childhood memories. Start changing from within your family and the school environment. By now, you will see how significant childhood is to each of us. The family in the early years is the most critical place to shape a person's lifestyle, and education at school is a continuation and supplement to the family. For example, when a mother begins to hold her child, she establishes the first cooperation relationship with the baby. At this point, whether the mother truly loves and enjoys holding her child becomes especially important. A mother who truly loves her child will hold her baby comfortably, especially when bathing the baby, who will not cry but laugh joyfully, reflecting the mother's genuine love and cooperation. In reality, not all mothers feel comfortable caring for their children, perhaps feeling that the child is a burden and they are not ready for motherhood. However, caring for children from the earliest days is a precious gift life offers parents. Although making money to support the family financially is essential, if you miss the opportunity to build cooperation and bonding with your child, it is a real shame. When parents care for their children with love and connection, the child feels this cooperation and love. Conversely, if parents frequently complain about housework, cooking, teaching children, or other tasks, it may be because they feel their lives are lacking in excitement. These complaints often reflect a search for personal superiority and fulfillment. As a result, the child does not learn cooperation and feels alienated. If parents cannot cooperate well with each other, it also affects the child. For example, if the father is angry and controlling, the child may see marriage as a form of submission. If the mother is constantly nagging and controlling, the daughter may emulate this behavior, while the son may develop a defensive attitude, fearing criticism, or seek to dominate women to compensate. Many mothers tend to exaggerate their love for their children, saying, "You are everything to me." This can become a form of possession, making the child feel that the mother belongs only to them, leading to possessive behavior. For instance, the child may misbehave, wake up in the middle of the night, or exhibit other negative behaviors to get the mother's attention. Alfred Adler proposed a revolution in education, encouraging teachers to focus on each student's individual needs to compensate for the family's shortcomings. However, in today's context, where teachers are under pressure from packed curricula and heavy workloads, this is challenging. On the other hand, parents can change and improve their relationship with their children if they are equipped with the right knowledge and methods. Most parents genuinely want the best for their children, so learning how to change and develop oneself is crucial. In the context of school education, I want to share some personal views that I find useful. Firstly, strictness and punishment are two things to avoid when teaching students. If you are strict and use punitive measures, the child will struggle to establish good communication and connection with you. Secondly, teachers should lower themselves to speak on equal terms with the students, care for each one sincerely, and pay attention to their future. It is essential to recognize and nurture each student's strengths, helping them develop without needing to be class leaders or officers. Adler emphasized that genuine connection with students is the most critical task for a teacher. Thirdly, avoid using phrases like, "You are very smart but not very hardworking" to encourage students. While the intention might be to motivate them to work harder, this approach can trigger the wrong thinking. If I'm already smart, why do I need to work hard? This can lead to laziness, and a lack of effort. The core ideas of raising children in the famous book Bossedesses or maintaining long-lasting relationships in the popular book Relationships are based on Alfred Adler's individual psychology. If you want to learn more, you can start with these two books for easier understanding. However, even if we learn many methods, they will not be effective unless applied properly. Learning from Adler's ideas is the best way to deeply understand the issues, so I sincerely recommend reading this book. And a few important messages in today's video. The more you read, the more you travel. And the more you learn, the more you realize that no one can entirely control their circumstances. Life is short and humans are fragile. We constantly face three significant issues: career, social relationships, and love and marriage. We are always searching for solutions, but will never be completely satisfied with the status quo. No matter what, people must keep striving. But remember this, only by cooperating with others can our struggles be filled with hope and meaning. This struggle is a lifelong journey to find the true meaning of life. Almost all books encourage us to develop a kind heart, open to compassion and love. As Inamura Kajua taught in the book Heart, we need to live with a spirit of giving, knowing that giving leads to sustainable success and happiness. Thank you for listening. If you found this video helpful, please share it with those who might benefit. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated with our weekly videos. Once again, thank you, and see you in the next videos.